A social worker in a pediatric oncology facility is assigned a family of a 7-year-old child who was recently diagnosed with leukemia. The child will soon be starting periodic treatments while waiting for an eligible bone marrow donor after discovering that none of the family members are suitable as donors. The social worker observes that the parents seem avoidant of close contact with the child. What should the social worker do first? So first of all, this question is asking the social worker to intervene. So this is a clinical intervention question. This is also a first question, which means we need to approach this question with urgency and priority, which means what is the most important thing that we need to do according to the presenting problem. The presenting problem is always going to be your most critical and most pressing issue that is currently happening in the session, or that the client is presenting in the present moment and time. Okay, so here we are breaking this down. We're looking that we're working with a family. So we're in a pediatric oncology facility and we're working with a family, okay? The family of a 7-year-old child. This child was recently diagnosed with leukemia. I like to pay attention to words that insinuate a duration or a time span of events, okay? So the child will soon be starting periodic treatments while waiting for an eligible bone marrow donor, okay? So none of his family members could donate to him. So the presenting problem here is that in this session, the social worker observes that the parents seem avoidant of close contact with the child. That is the most pressing issue that the social worker needs to address in this situation. So the question says, what should the social worker do first? What is the most important thing? What is the most critical thing? This is also, of course, it's always going to say should, which insinuates we always have to keep ethics in mind. So what is the most important ethical thing that the social worker should do? All right, so that's the question that we should be asking ourselves before we even go on to the answer choices. All right, so should the most important thing that we do first be to refer the child to a peer support group operated by the hospital to provide a source of outside support? Now we want to know, is this going to address the presenting problem? If the presenting problem is that the social worker observed that the parents seem avoidant of close contact with the child, is referring the child to a peer support group going to address that? It is not. And that's how you eliminate that. I do recommend that we eliminate answers one at a time. Okay? Option B. Would the first thing that we need to do, the most important thing we need to do, be to discuss with the parents their sense of guilt and regret regarding the fact that they are not able to provide a potentially life-saving bone marrow donation for their child? Well, B would be assuming, because where in the stem does it say that they have a sense of guilt and regret? It doesn't. So we're not going to reach, we're not going to assume, we're going to simply eliminate that one because it is out of reach from the stem. Option C. Would the most important thing to do be to initiate a discussion with the parents regarding their reactions and feelings about their child's illness and upcoming treatment? So the issue is that the parents seem avoidant of close contact with the child. Initiating a discussion seems like something that we would do, but is it the first thing we would do? We don't know that because we have not yet explored option D. Another reason why it's important to make sure you are thoroughly reading each answer choice and eliminating them one by one, and always comparing them back to what the presenting problem is to see if it addresses it, okay? This is the savvy strategy that I teach, and it is evidence-based, and it has been proven to be effective with the people who has been using this strategy and taking their exams and answering the questions and getting a much higher percentage of them right, okay? So moving on to option D. Would the most important or the most critical thing we do first be to share these observations with the parents and educate them on the importance of maintaining a strong, affectionate relationship with the child during this critical period. Is that the first thing we're going to do when the parent seems avoidant of close contact with the child? Okay. That is definitely something that I think we should do. But remember, this is a first question, so we want to approach these first questions with urgency and priority. So I think initiating a discussion first takes priority before we start sharing our observations and educating them, okay? Because remember this little part in here. Let's hear from them. Let's, kind of assess the situation. Let's talk about their feelings. Let's explore their feelings and their thoughts about the situation. So in this scenario, the initial action of the social worker should be the one that opens a dialogue with the parents without making judgments about the behaviors observed. That option provides an opportunity to begin building a therapeutic relationship with the parents and refrains from imposing assumptions that may or may not be valid about the reasons or implications of the parents' behaviors. So see, as I answered, we are in the beginning stages of the process. So remember that your answer must be related to the phase of the process that you're in. And it tells you that this social worker was assigned a family of a 7-year-old who was recently diagnosed, which means this is something recent. So this is usually one of the beginning phases of the helping process. And in that phase, we are usually building the therapeutic relationship by engaging the client, building trust and rapport. Okay?